Raging Sons, it's great to have you guys here with us today. And you guys are from Limerick, isn't it? Yeah?
Yeah, correct.
Perfect, yeah. So I hope everything's good down there in Limerick with you guys. And we're going to be talking to you today about like your most recent single, Breathe Easy. And basically just like how you've been coping as like new musicians over the course of lockdown. And just about your music career as well. So before you actually like get into the interview like in full depth, just give us an insight into like, you know, yourselves, who you are and how you actually got into music.
Want to take that? Yeah, so I'm Adam. I'm the drummer in Adam and Sons. I've been with them for 4 or 5 years now at this stage. And yeah, I guess over lockdown, this was having the album to do over lockdown was really nice. Nice kind of distraction and nice to have some bit of a creative outlet as well. Yeah, bit of a mess trying to release tunes and still waiting for the album kind of final date and stuff with gigs and whatnot. But yeah, happy to have been able to do something in that, you know.
Definitely, yeah.
So Raging Sons is a very unique name for a band. Is there a special meaning behind it?
Not particularly. I think it was a case of sitting down, kind of brainstorming a few different ideas, and there was I still have a sheet of paper somewhere with about 400 different band names on it, and I think by the end of it we just kind of came with Raging Sons. There's no particular meaning behind it. It's just we got there somehow, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So your latest single, Breathe Easy, like has been doing quite well. So what was the inspiration behind that track?
Well, it was written at the first lockdown. Like we were in the middle of recording the album, and we had recorded our first single tonight, and that was always going to be the first single. And personally, I always kind of felt like we needed another kind of follow up to that. So it was written specifically for that reason. But the inspiration, I suppose, came from being in lockdown maybe and not being able to meet up with the lads in whatever place I was in at that time. It all kind of came from there. But like I said, it was purposely written as a follow-up single to Tonight, and it was basically done over the course of a few weeks and then brought to the lads. And when the lads heard it instantly, they kind of said, okay, we're going to record this. So it was probably, we're probably 4 or 5 songs into the album at this stage, but this was kind of took center stage then for a couple of months until we released Tonight, and then obviously released Breathe Easy second, you know.
So you guys have released quite a few singles during this pandemic. What has it been like, and what has the reaction been like to it during, like, you know, times where we're isolated and away from live music?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been difficult in a way because normally you'd release music and then go and tour it, go and release it, or gig to release it, I suppose, and you get some of the feedback and you see how it sits, this audience is hearing it, whatever. So it's been a little bit strange this time around, but it's been great. Reaction's been great, really, really positive, which is amazing. Kind of encouraged us to go on and continue working as hard as we were this year. Yeah, it's definitely been strange, but again, we've been incredibly lucky to have had a project to work on. I think we'd all have been going spare if we didn't have something, especially during the first 2 lockdowns, you know.
Yeah.
I think like having the time to focus on it as well has been good, because usually, like Adam was saying, you'd release a single or you'd release a couple of singles and you'd be out kind of promoting it and gigging it, and you might take the kind of eye off what's important, and that's getting into the studio and recording and fine-tuning things.
Yeah.
So like when we first kind of embarked on recording the album, the plan was that the album would be out by now, would have been out last summer maybe, you know, but because of lockdown, because not being able to gig, we took extra time kind of fine-tuning each song, and like even up to this day now, we're still in the middle of recording the debut album, which we're hoping to be out in the summer. But like if we'd been gigging, maybe we would have said, oh, let's just get it out there, and maybe not have spent as much time kind of focusing on the actual music, you know.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So what was the first song that you guys wrote, and who are your biggest influences?
First, well, I suppose like as a band, we've been kind of going for a few years, and we've released some stuff in the past, but it's all been wiped from history now because we kind of treat this as our debut. because like we kind of got to a point where we kind of said, look, we're either going to give this a really good go, or we're going to maybe go our separate ways or whatever. But so we're treating tonight as the first release from Raging Suns, and then the debut album will be our first release. You know, so everything that's kind of gone before that is just in our memories and no one else's. You know, so that's kind of the vibe there. But influences, we talk about this all the time. Like we all have different influences, you know, but and in a weird way they all kind of come together and make what we are. You know, like my influences probably be, he's laughing already. My influences probably be like Oasis, U2, Muse, stuff like that. Doors.
Oasis is a class, like, you know, and U2 as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, good.
So it's kind of more
on Oasis, like, you know.
Yeah, more band kind of guitar based kind of stuff, you know. But like we were kind of more fundamentally a rock band when we first met up and started jamming, and
yeah,
you know, maybe a bit more self-indulgent. Whereas now we're kind of broadened the sound a bit, and we've introduced a lot of synthy kind of stuff, and you know, maybe a few pop elements and stuff, you know, just to kind of, I don't know, make it more rounded, you know. So, Adam, your influences.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with all of that. I think what's been fantastic in this album is that we do all have such different influences, I suppose. So like you'd be in the studio for 4 or 5 days, staying in a hotel, and I might be playing music for an hour after the studio, and then Fint might, and so on and so forth. And then you get to the studio the following day, and there's a new mix of ideas that I suppose you wouldn't have if we were all jamming out to Wonderball for
I
agree with that. So yeah, no, it's been good. Yeah, it's a happy little equation, I suppose.
So what is the production like, and the creation process in your music? And do you feel like your hometown has any impact on the music you create?
I suppose the kind of usual way we do things would be, like, I would be kind of more fundamentally the songwriter, we'll say. So I will write the song on an acoustic guitar and do all my work at home, and then I'll bring it into the lads and we'll all kind of start jamming. So sometimes the song could take a totally different direction. Sometimes it can remain very much the same. Like Adam said, like everyone has their own kind of influences. So you know, Adam can hear something I don't hear, Damien or Colm can sing, you know. And then I suppose in more recent times, getting into studio, we've kind of gone in more with a blank canvas rather than trying to be overly prepared, you know.
Yeah.
So we're recording with Mike O'Dowd, Lakeland Studios in Athlone, in Glasson, and like he'd have a big part to play as well with maybe the direction on which we would go, and like we're very open-minded, then let him kind of direct us in some ways. Obviously you have your own kind of ideas and you want to get them across, but
yeah,
we kind of joke that he's almost like the fifth member of the band at this stage because he's such a big influence, you know. And then like we'll lay down everything that we do in rehearsals, get all that down recorded, and basically we'll spend another day then just going through different production ideas and different kind of individual ideas that we want to try. And like I've always said, like we try everything, John, we'll try anything and everything, and if anyone has an idea, we'll try it. Like nothing gets left to the side, and if it works, then it works, you know.
Yeah.
So what has your favorite musical memory been so far in your career, in your music career? And then if you could invite 5 musicians to dinner, dead or alive, who would they be?
There's been some special moments in the studio this time around, which is weird. I mean, normally I gravitate towards a special gig that we played or like a really good crowd or whatever, but there's been some really nice moments in the studio. I suppose it like helped out with the fact that we're in lockdown and we might not see each other for 3 months. We might not get to jam for 3 months, and the only time we'd have is a 5-6 day stint in the studio where we're all together and that kind of creative process unfolds. So that's been really special and something I'm really appreciative of. Musicians dead or alive. Whew. Should be interesting. Should be interesting. We should have any questions off you before we join the call. It's going to be here for a while. How long do you have? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'll defer that one to
musicians dead or alive. Well, I suppose being the lead singer in the band and all that, I'd probably gravitate towards frontmen, you know?
Yeah.
Sounds a bit odd, isn't it?
Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison,
Yeah.
definitely, from The Doors. John Lennon,
Oh yeah.
Liam Gallagher,
Oh, of course. Yeah. You have to have him. Like.
Freddie Mercury, maybe. Yeah,
You'd be interesting.
That kind of flair you bring to things. Yeah.
and the vest.
And the
Yeah,
vest.
yeah.
We haven't talked about the vest. On the vest.
But yeah, so that would be kind of my kind of 2 cents on that. Have you thought of anyone yet? No?
Love to play with Oasis. I think.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Big fan as well.
Yeah, I don't know if there are so many. Toto, I'd say. I'd love to have a little jam with. There's one for you.
All in all.
Oh,
Likes them so.
yeah, I'm keeping the mustache just in case I end up with. Same way he has the vest on in case there's ever a microphone put in front of him. I keep the mustache in case.
Yeah.
Down hall.
Gotta be prepared at all times, you know.
Who's your dream artist to collaborate with? And sorry, just double check the rest of that question. What is your fondest musical memory?
Fondest musical memory. For a person with Raging Sons, or
Are they
in
different?
general?
Like,
I don't know,
it's
they're
like
two different
or like-
questions.
yeah, in general, yeah.
Well, with the band, I think there's loads. Like before we started recording this album, we'd done a few bits. Like we'd done a live session today FM, which was a kind of a big thing for us. And more recently, we were track of the week on 2FM, which was kind of a proud moment as well, especially for what we're considering our debut release. You know, our second single was track of the week on 2FM only last month. You know, so that was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Wow. And then was gigs and stuff then. Go there.
Yeah. So, what was the first album that you guys ever bought?
I'm back in the day. What was it?
My first album I ever bought was probably you're gonna laugh again. It's probably Be Here Now. Oasis, funny enough.
What album? That's a class album.
But like before that, like I've had loads of albums bought for me, but like that was probably the first one where I kind of like had my own money, went into the shop and bought and Joshua Tree by U2, that was there as well. So it was
Yeah.
I think Mothership, the Led Zeppelin release, was mine. Weirdly enough.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a good one.
See, I'm young enough to remember streaming tracks. Like,
yeah.
the albums are a big thing.
Yeah. Stop coming back now.
What is your favorite track that you've released and why?
22.
That's it. I think our single that's coming out on the 21st of May is probably my favorite one so far. It's very different. And yeah, just a super powerful track that again was one of those moments in the studio where like I'm really grateful to be able to play on this whenever. It's a superb song. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one coming out and seeing the reaction to that.
Yeah, my one's probably our first single Tonight, I think. So to me, like even listening to the other tracks in the album that aren't released yet, I think that's my favorite, you know. But yeah, I agree with Adam. The next single is going to be a bit different. The first two have been very kind of upbeat, kind of poppy, rock kind of synthy songs, like whereas this one's going to be more stripped back, pull on the heartstrings type job. So yeah, that'll be out next month, end of next month.
That's exciting. Yeah. Yeah. So what message do you want your fans to take away with them when they listen to your music?
Please come see us live.
Yeah, no, that's a good point though. I think like what we want is we want people to come see us live and want to come see us live, you know. So once like we get out there and start gigging again, like I think we're best live, you know. And I think the songs kind of would show that as well. The first two in particular, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
Those songs live will be great, you know, and not to be blowing one's own trumpet or anything, but the album itself is full of similar tracks, you know, that I think in a live scenario that it's great, you know. So
yeah, no, Breathe Easy is definitely a great track, and like it's the production and the lyrics in them as well is unreal. So you know, well done for that.
thank you. Cheers.
So what is your go-to song to distract yourself during hard times?
Ooh, during hard times.
Breathe Easy.
Breathe Easy. Yeah. Remember, things could be worse. I think if I'm having like a little moment for myself and I want to be really emotional, I listen to some Bears then. Tend to do it for me enough when I have a little shower cry or something like that on a Monday morning. Bears then tends to do it. Would you? Oasis.
No,
What songs?
I don't sit around listening to Oasis. I probably the one band I probably tend to listen to most, like when I'm in my own space, maybe driving, is probably Muse. Like, you know, Muse would be one of my favorite bands, and some of the older Killer stuff as well.
Oh yeah, they're great. Yeah.
So yeah, they'd be my two go-tos maybe.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, so have you guys been to any concerts before this whole pandemic kicked off? And had they inspired you in any way? And also, how are you guys been adapting to, like, you know, like to the like online like music world? Because like everything has to be online now, with, like, you know, connecting with fans and like, you know, having to promote your single shoe, Instagram, Twitter. Like, how are you coping with all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, gigs are always inspiring, and it's been, I suppose, it was taken away from us so unexpectedly that you got to carry a lot of that motivation into recording or whatever. Like, I know playing a gig after being to see a gig is always a much better buzz. Do you know what I mean? Like, you feel like, okay, I could be that someday. And yeah, I suppose the transition to doing stuff online, like, it's been amazing how quickly and how well bands started doing live gigs and live streams and that. How quickly venues have adapted to doing it, which has been a godsend, I think. That we have some form of live music, because it is different to anything else. And yeah, I think the transition to promoting stuff online, you just had to do it. Do you know what I mean? There was no, they were the cards you were dealt. Do you know what I mean? It was just a case of getting on with it, I suppose.
Yeah, I think like it makes you think outside the box a little bit as well. You know, like when you're gigging and promoting an album or a single or whatever, you're just going out gigging it, and you're not really thinking too much about how you're presenting yourself online, bar the generic posts, come to my gig, or this is my song. Whereas like something that we've done more recently is kind of think outside the box with doing like things like this, like Zoom interviews and Zoom calls, and even between the band ourselves, we do some of that stuff and put it up on social. So in a way, it's been a good thing, you know, because it's a chance for you to get to show like your personality a bit more, you know, and people kind of get to know you a little bit better, rather than just like I suppose expecting people to just be invested in you just from your song or a photograph or whatever, you know. So
Yeah.
it's been good.
Is there any advice you'd give to musicians who are starting off during this pandemic?
Don't do it. My Bitcoin. No, geez, just stick with it. Like I've been playing music for 12 years, but I've been gigging for the last 8 years now, nearly. Do you know what I mean? And it's tough at times. It's tough to go from, like, you might have a batch of gigs, and then there was a period a couple of years ago where I didn't play a gig for a year. You know, you're kind of wondering, what am I doing here, almost. And especially with lockdown as well. But I think just stick with it. It's hard, but I think the people that will do best in music are the people that it's an extension of themselves almost, and it's an art, and it's something that it almost becomes part of their personality, so they will inherently stick through the tough times as well as the good. And yeah, it's a long road. I think you have to stick true to yourself as well, I suppose. Like, we've had, even with Raging Sons, like this album was born out of us deciding we were going to give up music, or give up the group that was Raging Sons, I suppose, because not that we were taking the piss or anything, but like, we'd say, all right, we'll go recording in 3 months' time, and then not see each other for 6 months. Not to mind going in jamming or writing or anything like that. So we had to have kind of a heart-to-heart, I suppose, and decide, okay, we're going to make a concerted effort to do something here, because we felt like the material and our time together deserved a release. And in many ways, like Quentin said a while ago, lockdown has helped that. We've been able to craft and hone a piece of, or a body of music that we feel is very representative of ourselves, you know.
Yeah. So what are you guys looking forward to the most when lockdown ends?
Gigging. Has to be. Like, I mean, that's why you do it. I think
100%,
it's
yeah.
I think it's like the old saying is that you don't miss it until it's gone, you know.
Yeah,
So
100%.
even meeting up, jamming and stuff like that, like we haven't really been able to do that. And it's like something as simple as if you ever go away on a holiday and you forget to bring your guitar, right? You miss it, you know, which is kind of weird because it could be sitting in your room across the way from you and you won't pick it up because you know it's there, you know. So it's the same kind of idea with gigs, you know. It's like you could be doing gigs every week and it's just one of those things, you're just kind of used to doing it. And as soon as it stopped, and it was such a sudden stop, like Adam was saying last year with COVID, it's like you instantly wish, you know, it doesn't take long for you to miss it, you know. So that's the main thing for us, I think, getting out gigging, that's where we kind of excel as far as I'm concerned, you know, and that's what you enjoy the most. But between, it's always recording and gigging. So everything else in between, you can keep it, like, you know, it's the recording and gigging. That's where you get the biggest buzz, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I think just gigs in general are something that we all took for granted, like, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been awful.
Is there any new like TV series you've been binge watching over the lockdown, or any new hidden talents you've discovered or hobbies you've picked up?
What about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? No, I actually did watch that. Yeah. It's one of those things like car crash TV, you just have to keep watching it. But no, I can't think of anything really that I watched over lockdown.
You watched Gangs of London was good, and I rewatched Billions, which is really good. As boring as that may seem, like that is pretty as Housewives. But yeah, any hidden talents, Fint?
No, I usually put all my talents out there, you know. Don't hide anything. No, not that I can think of anyways. Bacon banana bread, maybe. That's one. Nice.
Banana bread. I think that's something that we talk about. Yeah.
Sorry.
What you want? Drinking lots of cans. That's
Plenty of cans.
Drinking cans, yeah.
Been able to pour the perfect pint of Guinness from a can.
Yeah, the amount of time that I've put into experimenting with how to pour cans of Guinness, actually,
yeah,
kind of surprising. Hey, but all you have is time, you know.
So what does the future have in store for Raging Suns? Is there any specific goals you'd like to achieve, and what do you feel is next?
Well, single first is the plan to be the 21st of May, so that's the next single. And then we're going to release another single with the album in August. So that's the first port of call, I suppose. And then hopefully, I suppose, to be getting out gigging, Joe, like keep saying, Joe. So hopefully by the end of the summer, they're opening up the place again for gigs. And yeah, that's about it for now.
Yeah, that all sounds so exciting. So yeah, Adam and Fint, that actually concludes the end of our interview. It was great to chat with you. But before you go, can you let everyone know where can we find you on social media?
We are at Raging Suns on everything.
On everything. So Twitter, Instagram, and I think like Facebook is kind of dying for some people though, isn't it? It's kind of like dying out a little bit. But yeah, so Instagram and Twitter would be like the main ones. And you can also find their singles on like the most recent one, Breathe Easy, is on Apple Music, Spotify, and pretty much all major streaming platforms. And yeah, so we look forward to the album, guys, and that'll be out later this summer. And the next single is going to be out the 21st of May. Like I said, 21st of May, isn't it? Yeah, like I said, yeah. Yeah, so before you go, we're just going to take a photo that's cool with you.
Yeah.
Hang on. have to take this on my phone. I'm not too sure how to screenshot and zoom. Like, hang on. Keep this there. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. It's great chat with you, and we can't wait to catch you at a gig, hopefully at some point in the future. Hopefully, fingers crossed, like in the summer, October, autumn, probably, like, you know. So yeah, so have a great week, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks so much.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.